Good evening, everyone. Let's begin as always with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Jonathan Ramsey, Michelle McHugh,
Present.
Dan Cochiola,
Present.
Ken Demers,
Here.
Robert DeCina,
Here.
Karina Noyd,
Here.
Rob Talick,
Here.
Marianne Rosa, and Rachel Ryan.
Here.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We'd like to start reviewing with the library budget. So whoever's representing the library, please come up.
Well, immediately, I will not say good evening, Mr. Chairman. I will say good evening, Madam Chair, and other members of council. Thank you for your time and attention. My name is Donna Rintelman. I am the director of the Watertown Library Association. Members of our Library Board of Trustees are also here in the audience in support of this request. I would also like to thank the council for naming a town representative to our Board of Trustees, and we look forward to meeting him. The Watertown Library Association is a 501c3, a nonprofit organization which runs the Watertown and Oakville branch libraries. We are one of 74 association libraries operating in the state of Connecticut. Each has a unique charter, organizational structure, and relationship within their municipalities. The Watertown Library Association and the town of Watertown have had a long-standing, mutually beneficial partnership, and we are grateful for the town's generous support of the library operating budget. The library operating budget is supported primarily by the town grant or appropriation, which is supplemented by contributions, membership dues, and copy monies. Funds for building and capital improvements are raised by the association. The library's mission is to provide and to encourage the use of library resources, materials, and services that best meet the evolving educational, recreational, and informational needs of the residents of Watertown and Oakville, thus enhancing individual and community life. Listed here on this slide are some of the manifestations of this mission, which the association has been supporting for 161 years. This past fiscal year, we served 11,501 registered borrowers. We have 87,152 physical items for circulation. While we do have physical video and audio material, 84% of our total circulation remains books. 46% of town residents are library card holders, while the Connecticut average is at 32%. The library has 47 licensed databases on a variety of subjects for library users. These include Value Line, which offers investment research on companies, industries, markets, and economies. BrainFuse Job Now, which is a live job assistance platform that offers live job coaching, real-time interview practice, a full-service resume lab, and 24/7 access to local job resources. We also license ChiltonLibrary.com. It is the same authoritative, money-saving car care guidance brought for 100 years by Chilton's Car Care Books, which is now available online for Watertown Library card holders. We maintained our adult and children's programming with 159 in-house programs and 12 programs that allowed for remote participation. Our America 250 programming continues with a most recent talk by John Cilio on the American Revolution through the eyes of its people. One-on-one technical consultations with library staff totaled 2,533 consults, and we handled 14,500 reference inquiries. For your informational purposes, on this slide, there is a chart to show library support in the area communities on a per capita basis, as well as the statewide average. So how does our partnership work? Our operating budget supports the mission of the library. Out of the total town budget, the library appropriation hovers near 1%. The town covers operating costs, which include physical materials like books, as well as electronic information in the form of databases, ebooks, access to the web, staff wages, and the cost of day-to-day operations. That includes utilities, our integrated library system, and the upkeep of our community spaces. The Library Association is responsible for all capital projects. The association is aided by local foundations and on occasion national foundations, the Friends of the Watertown Library, and individual donations. Since 2015, these projects have totaled over $1 million. The installation of an electric elevator to replace the original run with hydraulic fluid at the main library is underway. It will be completed this year. This past September, the library moved to new web and email servers. There should be no more full inboxes or bouncing emails. All web certificates are up to date. So, what are we asking for? The association is asking for a 2.85% increase in our operating budget. That is a total increase of $24,900 for fiscal year 2027. This brings the town appropriation for operating expenses to $899,000. The $24,900 that we ask for will cover a 2.8% cost of living increase for our employees and an estimated 15% increase in medical insurance costs. It will keep our library service hours intact at Watertown Library and Oakville Branch Library, maintain our online resources and the funding for our multi-generational programming. And with our best estimate, we've anticipated the increases in the cost of utilities, service contracts, and maintenance supplies. And with that, I am happy to answer any of the questions.
I have a question regarding what sort of overlap of services is there between the branch and the main facility? Hour-wise.
Just for hours? The branch has become a true branch. It is 3 miles away from our main library. We consider those shelves to be extensions of the main library. They are open currently Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. The main library is open Monday and Friday from 10 until 5, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 10 until 7 p.m., and Saturdays from 10 until 2.
And how about the other services, existing services?
The overlap, the branch, we utilize it as it is a children's library. It is for birth up through, I used to say 6th grade. I think it's much younger now, maybe about 3rd grade. And it is also an adult popular fiction library so that people can come in and they get the most recent books there as opposed to having to travel or wait for us to send a book down to the branch. And it also houses now our Friends Book Nook. So that has taken over what would have been another meeting place for the town.
Okay. I had another question. It went in and went out. Oh, the estimated health increase, medical. When will those be finalized and how close are we to the 15%?
That is not up to me. We are very fortunate in that the 3 employees that are part of the medical insurance we come in with the town as 3 more people. And so I called the Department of Insurance at the state capitol, who runs that, and I asked specifically, what is the partnership program 2.0 going to be starting in July?
Mhm.
And they said it would be from 12% up to 15%. I went with 15% being the top of the range to be safe.
Makes sense. And do you charge for any of your services? You mentioned notary and,
No, no, we do not charge. We do, if somebody loses their library card, we ask for $1 for a replacement, but there is no charge for somebody to become a member of the library. If they become a member of the association, which is the 501c3 that runs the library, that is a $15 annual charge to join the association. We currently do charge for copies,
Mhm.
and that barely, I don't think we break even on the cost of the ink and the paper, frankly. But it does bring in, people utilize the service. They utilize that. And I discussed with our Board of Trustees at our last regular meeting about bringing back fines in a formal way. And we all agreed that it was something that we would be doing.
Great.
It's not meant as a penalty. It is to remind folk that you are borrowing the items and that the library has bought the material to be utilized by all of the members of the community who wish to borrow it, not to sit on someone's shelf.
Great. Thank you.
So,
Anything else?
okay.
Thank you very much, Donna. Appreciate your.
I thank you all very much.
Next up, we have elections.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the council. I'm Diane Stengel, the Democratic Registrar of Voters.
And I'm Christine Shields, the Republican Registrar of Voters.
If you'll notice, we don't have the lovely presentation that the library had. So the Registrar of Voters office is in charge of the elections, ballots, but yeah, we kind of work with the town clerk and make sure everything goes according to the state. If you look at our budget, we're actually down $2,750 in what we're requesting this year from previous years. And those the decrease comes with our election worker line, because we're hoping to continue getting early voting grant from the state but everything's still up in the air as to how long early voting will go. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. We did increase our printing and binding line items because we're not sure with the new tabulators that we have, the ballots cost a different amount each time depending on what's on the ballot for that year. And this is the first time we're having the gubernatorial. You know, we just don't have enough experience to know what each is going to cost us. But we do believe that this one will be more, plus we have a primary this year. And then we also increased our event meals because we have to feed all the people that work the early voting. And we have the primary, which has extra early voting days in it too. So, but we did decrease our office furniture because we think the only thing we might need this year are maybe a new chair or two. So, any questions?
When you feed them,
Yes.
do we patronize the restaurants in town?
Yes,
We used Watertown,
the meat
meat
center.
Meat center.
during early voting. We got a sandwich and a drink for
Excellent.
each worker.
And then during the election itself, we do breakfast from Jimmy's and then lunch from Leban's.
Think I'll come volunteer. Oh, I don't think I can. Now you spoke about an early voting grant.
Yes.
Who is responsible for writing that grant?
Oh, no, the state just says,
This-
here's the money, and now show us how you used it. So actually, we just justified we just reported that to
Great.
the state for this past one, but there's no guarantee that they're going to continue giving us grant money, because they said they're not going to, but then they
There's been
realize
an
how much it
uproar.
costs us.
There's so much up in the air because in the past few years, after many years of being very similar, we got new tabulators, we got early voting. There are so many changes that are taking place. So some of our numbers need to change a little bit more or less each year to accommodate. And as we're learning, as the ballot numbers and the ballot costs increase or decrease, we're learning. The company is sometimes telling us something that we didn't know previously. So things are changing back and forth.
Our advertising budget might change also because the
Yes,
Town Times is
Town
no
Times
longer here and we have to
there.
deal with Hearst Media. And we're not sure what they're gonna hit us each time, so.
Questions?
Value of that grant, what,
This past grant was $11,614 or something. Almost all of that could have been applied just to the workers' pay salary. Having nothing to do with the printing of the early ballots, all those other, and the meals and
Right.
things like that.
so if we,
Prior to that, we received 7,500, and prior to that, we received 10,000. So it's just however much the state feels like giving us.
so it's random. And if we don't get what we anticipate, then we're on the hook for the difference.
Absolutely. We have no say in how long early voting goes. It's in front of the legislature again, but it may not be voted on this session. It may wait till the next session. So we're just waiting to see.
We're waiting to see what is being given to us. The most we can do is call our legislators.
I was just gonna say, that makes
Yes.
sense to talk to advocate. Yep.
Because we'd like to shorten early voting.
Yes.
It's a huge expense and we don't get any extra voters. They seem to think that we will, but we don't. It's the same number of people come out just over a longer period of time.
That's interesting. Is there data? How long have we been doing early voting?
Early voting is new.
It's just a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
So that's super interesting. Is there, like if it were shortened to 1 week versus however long it is
Versus
now?
2 weeks.
Right.
That's exactly what we're advocating for.
Mhm.
That is what the Registrar of Voters Association of Connecticut is advocating for.
Right now, primaries are 7 days,
And we're
Monday
looking
through
for 4.
Sunday. And a regular election is 14 days, Monday through Sunday.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Diane and Christine. Next up, we have economic development.
Madam Chair, I'll be reporting on economic development. There is a 0% increase in this budget. After meeting with Jeremy Johnson, our economic development coordinator, we agreed that we'll leave the budget as is. The only piece that I'd like to advocate for to continue to keep this in the budget is the $15,000 facade program. Basically, we put out $3,000 for businesses along the Main Street corridor for them to improve their facades. We've had a lot of inquiries on it, and we've given out a good amount of money for local businesses. And we'd like to continue that, considering we're going to be making improvements along Main Street in Watertown and then shortly thereafter in Oakville.
Great.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
So Mark, the budget that we got is incorrect. That says 66,787. That number is not the correct number. It's gonna be the same as the 2025, 26.
Oh, you're on year over year. I apologize. I misspoke. I had to prepare several budgets and this one got away from me. So the only no, that should be,
There's a large increase in the economic development consultant line. It went from 35,000
To 42.
to 42,000. So that's where I saw the increase.
so the increase is there, but actually it was budgeted through our wage and benefit line item because we didn't have that number available to us last year when we went in front of the council. So we take that money, it would be like money that we associated with a potential raise. It would be budgeted in wage and benefit. So it was just a carryover. So there is really no increase. It's just a carryover for one line item. And I apologize, I didn't pick up on that to explain that.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm not totally following you. Are you saying that the consultant is currently making $42,000 and that's just continuing? Or,
That is correct. That is his current salary. So it has not come in front of the council to discuss wage increases for department heads. So as we created the budget, we'll put money into wage and benefit to offset, because at what point we just don't have the time to kind of plan that out. So as normal, we would budget for union wages at 2.75% to 3%, and would be put in wage and benefit. So this is just truing up the actual number. So our total budget of the town would be the same. According to this, it would be reduced out of wage and benefits, and it's increased in this particular department.
okay.
Do you need further? I mean, do you need me to explain a little further?
No, let me just think about it. And I'll see if I can make sense of it myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Probate?
I will be reporting on probate. So basically, probate is our fee that we pay to the probate in our geographical area. And basically, the cost for us to be part of this probate is $8,017.90. It's broken down between, it basically takes our net grand list, it prorates it appropriately to the size of our net grand list, and they come out with it with the formula, and it covers their faxes, their storage, broadband, website. Southbury has a small fee because they take care of the books for our probate. So our share of our DIRG, for lack of better words, is $8,017.90.
Want to just keep going? Town manager?
I could manage that one. So I did something a little different this year. I tried to put an executive summary to kind of highlight some of the changes that were in the budget so that you don't have to hunt line to line to understand. You could compare it to the line to line to ensure that I'm accurate in what I'm reporting. But you're going to find that there were, again, wage adjustments, that the salary line items were trued up because we had not finished our white collar union contract. So we had, again, budgeted in wage and benefits, and now we've carried it over to this this current budget. So we trued up those numbers. Additionally, as we put together a social media stipend and the stipend for our emergency management person within the town manager's office, it was only meant to be like that temporarily, because there are issues that come up where on the social media, that individual will be going out on the weekend. And again, it puts us in a precarious situation with labor law. So we felt at this point, we would pull those stipends out, put it into the actual salary. We're still within the range of that salary. And with the with our human resource position, we've taken some of those day-to-day tasks. We've removed it from that director's position, put it on a staff member. So we gave a small bump up to that staff member to accommodate for those changes. With that, I've had some small increases to training and meeting costs, professional memberships, and small program and event. Very small increases there. Our emergency management group, we kept all the stipends the same, except for the one that I've just explained. And we've had a small increase. As stated in the executive summary, it was a $10,542 increase at about 2.9% overall for the budget.
So regarding the stipends, I'm thinking of them similar to bonuses. Is that correct?
No, it'd be for work performed. Under our, if you look at just emergency management, we have stipends that are given amongst several staff members. Some are volunteers, some are employees, some are, well, one of our staff members was a non-exempt employee, which they're a union member. Our exempt employees, it's no issue with providing a stipend because there's really no consequence to that. But having that union person in there, specifically under this particular circumstance, I felt it best to pull them out.
So I guess what I'm getting at is for the non-union people,
Mhm.
if you put the stipend money into their actual wages, then the following year, they're gonna get the 2.9%. It becomes part of their salary. So next year, they'll get 2.9% on top of that amount.
For that,
Whereas if it's a stipend, it's sort of a one and done.
I'm in full agreement, but it doesn't work out well for us if somebody were to make a complaint about that. And, you know, I did have discussions with our labor attorneys over this. This particular employee regularly does most of the work. And the issue that we saw is that as you check off the amount of work that's done, we're finding that it's well over that 35-hour per week. So yes, that person individually would get that increase every year. The other stipends we're going to leave in place, so it is a one and done per year. And don't forget, the EMPG grant really supplements 50% of those stipends under the emergency management group.
Through the chair.
Yes.
So just a discussion point, I think, the first and then to Mark. I think if we're adding workload to the position, then adding it to the salary structure makes reasonable sense to me. That seems fair and equitable. I want to think more about that social media communications piece. I know you and I spoke about that. So it looks like to me the 2110 line has that significant bump in the salary and right from 45 to 58. And so is that where that's reflected? And if so, are there expectations, parameters that I'm sure not written yet, but are going to be pretty explicit about what we want the person to produce in terms of that communication piece?
Specific to social media.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, the person who's in that position has actually taken up a leadership role and she's developed that program and continues to enhance that on a regular basis. If you watch our website, you'll see a lot of changes of pictures which are taken during certain times of the year. We'll find pictures changing on the weekend, events. She'll take it upon herself to go there and take care of those events. So yes, the expectation has been set. We discussed it in the beginning and that individual has clearly stepped up and made it more than what we even expected to begin with.
Yeah, that's really awesome because I do think a lot of great things occur. And having the town be aware in live time, especially from town hall, as the main voice is a really critical thing to building trust. So having that be within the job description would be really fruitful.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just want to understand the math, Mark. The administrative assistant line It's about a $13,000 increase. So the $3,500 stipend is being added in. And then you mentioned in that summary, the $3,000 for the additional increase in the workload. So that's 6,500. So where does the other 6,500 come from to get that $13,000 increase?
Again, the wages are not accurately reflected because it was kept in wage and benefit, because that's how we were able to produce the budget. So this is truing up those wages based on that money coming out of wage and benefits. So I don't have those exact calculations, but there was an adjustment in that difference. So you did miss the $2,500 stipend from the EMPG grant. So that would account for $2,500 out of that number of 6,000, whatever you stated. So we have a $4,000 difference. So if you'd like, we could produce that document to show, you know, that this was actually just a wage adjustment, because when we settled our contract for the white collar, it was a 3.25% increase for the first year. We were already into that second year of the budget, so they adjusted another 2.75%. If you want, I can pull a calculator and try and calculate it out at this point, but that's why there's an adjustment like that.
Okay, going forward, can we get accurate numbers in our budget book? Cause I don't know.
No.
Well,
We
then,
can't give you accurate numbers because we don't know what the numbers are. We try very hard to be able to give you the accurate, but we don't know what we're gonna settle with a contract. So we have to make an adjustment and an estimate of what that number would be. This isn't a fault on the town staff members. This is just a way of budgeting to ensure that we have enough money in the budgets to complete deals that we're making with the unions. I can't see of any other way to do that unless we broke it out in wage and benefit and saying we put 4% away for negotiations with the union, but that's pretty much tying my hands to say that that's what we budgeted, and now we're committed to giving that wage to the union. So I don't think it would be prudent on the town side to do that.
I don't recall having this be an issue in past years. Is there something different about this year? I know that there's these ongoing negotiations, but we've always had salary numbers that have been accurate from what I recall. I don't remember this being an issue.
I don't think anybody really delved into the numbers. This has been the standard practice for the town for longer than I've been here, and that's always the way it's been budgeted, where if a contract is not completed, we have to put money aside so that we could operate in the next fiscal year. It wouldn't make sense for us not to have that money budgeted. But I don't think that it should be placed, like I said, up front for the union to have a clear idea of where we're heading with those negotiations. So I don't think anybody's ever really asked for this, and it's kind of just went from year to year.
Thank you. Town council.
So again, I prepared a executive summary. The total for town council is stayed at 19,700. Although the only item that I contemplated on changing was for the codification, in which we pay a vendor to actually take any changes in our regulations, ordinances, charter, and they would recodify that for us. We're hoping to get that started by the end, close out of this current budget year. So I left it at that same amount of, I believe it was $15,000.
Yes.
So that we can
5.
hopefully get that process started at the end of this budget year, and then we would carry over into the next year and complete that. So everything else, you know, we look back pretty much all the budgets that I've dealt with is we look back at the 3-year average, and we tried to adjust to ensure that we're based properly with those numbers.
The codifications. Thank you. Next, we have public buildings.
I
Unless,
refuse to do that.
Mark, you want to do that?
Good evening, Madam Chair, council members. My name is Donna Ford. I'm the public building supervisor and the purchasing agent. This is my building maintainer, Tony Iosa. I'm presenting my budget for tonight. I'll go through the whole budget quickly. My first line item is the building maintainer salary, which is Tony. The other thing I wanted to state was the public buildings department consists of myself, the building maintainer, and 4 part-time custodians. We take care of 17 buildings in this town, just the 2 of us. And yeah, so it is a lot. My budget is large, but at some point we're probably going to need to increase it. But this year I did try to keep it as close to the same as I could. Of course, there's a few things that we'll go through. My part-time salaries did decrease. The reason for this is we used to have a part-time custodian for our firehouses, and we were unable to fill that position. So we now have a cleaning company that takes care of both firehouses. So you'll see that budget increased. My overtime, I keep the same. Shoe allowance and allowance, that's contractual. That's for the building maintainer. My maintenance landing building, this is one of my bigger budgets, and that is basically to take care of every building in this town. It's the cleaning company, it's anything that needs to be done, septic pumping, EnviroCare for our buildings, trauma, cleaning for the police department. Basically, anything that comes up that needs repair goes in that. So I did ask for an increase there, and that is because the cleaning of the firehouses now comes out of that budget. Our vehicle maintenance, I believe, has been decreased. We do have a newer vehicle, so that is for oil changes or anything that needs to go for the vehicle that the maintainer drives. Our other equipment maintenance, I did increase that. Our contracts have increased. That's our fire extinguisher and fire suppression testing, our generator contracts, inspection of our range hoods in the senior center and the firehouse, our elevator contracts for the senior center, firehouse, and the town hall. That's the sprinkler system testing for the buildings, boiler testing, our alarm system services, our generator service. And I also put in there HVAC repairs, which has become very costly in some areas. In this building alone, we have a very sophisticated HVAC system, which means it's very expensive to repair when things go wrong. And they do very often. So I did increase that $12,000. It's 21% increase. And that's when they increase my contracts, I have to increase the budget there. Our electric bill, I kept the same. I do research to see if anything is upcoming that may increase our electricity. Sometimes they say there's going to be an increase, and I will adjust my budget there. This year, I don't see anything. Electric bills have kind of stabilized at this point, so I did keep it the same for next year. And that is the electricity for many of our buildings. The next budget is water, and we know why that has increased 28%, because not only has our water and sewer bills gone up, but fire district also. And we have different buildings are in different parts of the town. So that has obviously increased. I did try to, look ahead, and I looked at our last few bills because those would indicate they have gone up. And that's where I took my budget from, was the last few bills that we received. So I'm hoping that doesn't go up any higher. The next is our fuel, oil, and gas. So we have Eversource gas for some of our buildings. That's also oil for some of our buildings, and propane for a few of our buildings. I decreased this a little bit. I really tried to be as tight as possible in this budget. And I looked for places where I could possibly. So I looked at what we spent last year and we were under a little bit. So I budgeted less this year. And hopefully nothing changes, but that's oil can, as we've seen, go up to $4 and $5 a gallon. But I do research for that too, to see if there's any trends coming up that may increase our oil or decrease. And I see things pretty steady, so I kept that the same, decreased a little bit. Telephone too, I really look to budget as closely possible, hoping that nothing catastrophic happens. So I was able to decrease that $2,200 just by looking at what we've been spending over the past few years. Cell phone stipends, I get that from the town manager's office. It's decreased a little this year. We may have less employees that we had. Trainings, meetings, and travel, that's stays the same. Maintenance agreements, I was able to keep the same. That includes our USA Waste and Hauling for all the buildings. That's a big expense. That's our HVAC contracts for all our buildings. That's alarm masters for all our buildings. And also our facility dude event manager that we have, which is a great tool for the building maintainer. It keeps everything in one area. When people need something done, they put it through this facility dude. We finally have a place where we know everything that was done to our town building. So if you want to know when a roof is replaced, we have it. It's a really good tool. And we use that very often. Mileage allowance, I decreased. The mileage was for our custodian at the firehouses to go back and forth. We don't have that anymore. I kept a little bit just in case the building maintainer's car is in the garage and he needs to use his own car. Membership stays the same. There's 3 memberships I pay with that, and that so far those have stayed the same. Cable and internet, that includes our managed router for the building, our internet for the police, and our optimum cable internet for other buildings. And that has stayed the same. I've looked over the past years. It hasn't really increased, so I was able to keep that the same. Building maintenance supplies, that includes everything we need to, as cleaning supplies, anything that he needs to make repairs for all our buildings. We're lucky to have Tony. He's very, very handy and he's able to do a lot himself. So that has saved us a lot of money, but we have to purchase the tools and the equipment that he may need to perform these duties, but I think it saves the town a lot of money. So I had to increase that a little bit. Small tools and apparatus, that's the same thing, that's staying the same. The uniform is for Tony also. Our Ford truck, that's the maintainer truck, and I believe this is the last payment we'll be making. So next year, that'll be good. And now we can go on to all the bad stuff. This year, as in years in the past, I have asked for the police department improvements. I know most of you have heard this before. Our HVAC system has way past its life expectancy. We have had, and every year it's gone up. Right now, it's $988,000 quote to have this HVAC totally replaced. The building is older and it has many things have happened in that building. There's been walls that have gone up. There are offices with no heat. There are offices with too much heat. There are offices with no air conditioning. And that's one of the problems. The biggest problem is the controls we cannot get parts for the controls. When the controls go, that's it. We will have no heat and we will have no air conditioning in this building. So we are looking to get a grant. We did apply for a grant for this. We have not heard yet, but we are still hoping. In the meantime, we're gonna need, because the HVAC, we need a new roof. It is leaking. The other thing is the generator, which when the building was built, the generator ran very little because there wasn't computers, there wasn't everything there is now. So the generator is completely undersized for the building that we have now. The only thing basically that runs is our communications department. The rest of the department, the police department basically would be out of, out of order. So that's the other thing, which is expensive because it has to be all redone for the entire building to make it complete. And that's also included in the grant that we are looking to receive. Here, this is another thing. This is a relatively small thing that I'm asking for the police department. These are our gutters. They overflow. They're much too undersized. We at first looked to have their underground, it's an underground system, and we looked to have the whole underground system replaced. It was very, very expensive. This year, we got a new perspective, and we're hoping that just replacing these gutters with a wider type system would alleviate the water pouring off the top of the building when it's raining hard or even any other time. It just pours off the top of the, like a, not good. So that improvement was $8,000 rather than, I think the whole system was almost 50,000. So that's, we think this will be a much less costly alternative than having the whole system dug up. That's another improvement. Another thing that I'm putting in my budget, and this is actually probably one of the most important things that I'm asking for. The 911 building, this is what we call it. It houses all the equipment for our fire department, our police department, our highway department, and the Northwest Connecticut Public Safety. It's all our communications equipment in this small building. The roof is very old. It needs to be replaced. It's not leaking yet. That would be detrimental.
Where
If
is
it-
this building?
So it is on Buckingham Street where the water tower is. It's right in front of the water tower. So the roof is 7,000. We are trying very hard to get things done before something catastrophic happens. And this would be if this equipment ever got wet or damaged or anything like that. So that's a relatively small improvement. But as you can see, there it is, and the roof is very old. The next thing, which I have asked for this in the past, and we actually got the money a few years ago, but we were unable to get the work done in time, so the money went back into the general fund. This is a maintenance garage roof. It leaks into the building. It's a very old building. This building was actually owned by the state. It has a very old roof. It's a steel roof. We're trying to get it replaced as least costly as we can. It does house a variety of things in this building. It's not only Tony's office where he does work but it also houses a bunch of public works equipment, the police motorcycle is stored there in the winter. We have signs there. It's not just his building. He has one part of it, the rest of it basically is public works. So we are looking to get this roof done, and we did find a more costly way to get this roof done because it's not a simple roof. It's not just a roof that we can replace with regular shingles, and it needs to be totally redone. So it is a more expensive roof. I'm looking for $40,000 for the roof, but I believe, at the time, we were hoping maybe we'd get a new highway garage and we would move this, and well, the roof's not, already not lasting, so I don't want to wait and have some of this very expensive equipment ruined. And as you see, I mean, Tony sits there and his feet are getting wet when it's getting moldy. There's mold all over the ceiling. It's really not good. So that's something we're asking for. Senior center. The painting and the exterior repairs, I believe is going to be put off. But at some point, we need to look into having the senior center painted. There's rotted wood. The paint is really, really, really bad at this point, and it's not really looking that good. The second thing, which is very expensive, however, is kind of a necessity. This is a safety issue. It's an OSHA issue. It's really in desperate need of repair. It is the emergency exit for the handicapped. And this is our handicapped emergency exit. Coming down the hill there, it's deteriorated. It is not wide enough for a wheelchair at this point. We have the electrical box right there, so we cannot move it to that side. If we kept it where it is, to the right is a cliff that we would have to destroy. We'd have to put up a wall. We'd have to cut down many trees. So the proposal that I received, because I asked for both, keeping it here and moving it to the other side of the building, they said this would cost hundreds of thousands more to keep it here because of the huge retaining wall. And so the proposal that I received is moving it to the other side of the building. They would build a new ramp there and it would come down the hill into the parking lot. And that was a much less expensive option. As you can see, it's really, really in bad shape. And, you know, right now, we haven't had an OSHA inspection in a while, but we don't know. It could be tomorrow, it could be 10 years. We don't know when they're gonna come, but this would be a complete violation. It's a safety, there's a few, our insurance company came out, and and they basically said it's not good. It's not, the way it is, it's not ADA compliant at all. So that, I'm really passionate about that. For the safety of the elderly. And we do have, we have over 900 senior citizens that visit the senior center. And many are in wheelchairs. So that I'm passionate about. This is the pictures of the senior center exterior where the paint is chipped and the molding is not in good repair. This was the other thing that I was asking for, is new garage doors for our highway garage. Our highway garage did just have wonderful repairs to it. And one of the things that they had done was all new windows. They're beautiful. But these doors are letting out the heat, are letting out the air conditioning because they're old. They don't know if they can be repaired at this point because of the rust and the rot. The wood has rotted. Things are just, everything else is looking good in this garage. And the garage doors, which we have 4 double doors and 1 single door, that would be replaced with this. And that's all I have. I know it's a lot. That's it. I know it's a lot, but I feel like it's my duty to present
Absolutely,
what we have.
absolutely. So the senior, excuse me, the senior center, how long has that been like that?
Quite a while.
Quite a while?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've made repairs to the sidewalk there over time, but it just doesn't last, with the snow and the frost heave, every year it just gets worse.
Now, you talked about applying for grants.
Yes, for the police department, we have applied.
Who
for-
writes them?
Between the town manager and myself,
Okay.
we have We have done that. We're still hoping. We were hoping maybe next year. I don't know if we heard anything else, but
Madam Chair, I've been in touch with our representative, Mr. Paletta. We would expected this grant to be awarded last fall, early fall, and the state did not move forward with any of the bond grants. So our project is still viable. I do keep in touch with them on a regular basis. I am concerned that at some point, I mean, the HVAC in the police department was bad when I was there, and I've been retired 14, 15 years. So one of the, with us changing and moving towards a capital budget, as we move through this presentation with the council, if we were to remove this, because I do feel we're gonna end up with the grant, we may want to put some seed money into a capital budget so that we do at least start putting some money into that project if needed. And we could discuss that more as we start to talk about capital projects.
I think that makes sense. I mean, I just look at 988,000 to, and I'll ask you, Mr. Maintenance, to fix an aging obsolete HVAC system at the police department. Is that really going to address the issues? I've been there, I've seen the walls that are up and I've seen what the locker rooms look like. You spend $988,000. I know right now it's not possible for us to put aside money to get a new police department and a new garage area. But is that going to solve the problem? Or are we just throwing good money after bad?
Well, the way that I look at it too is the town still owns the building. So even if you do build a new police department, the town will still own that building either until you sell it and make some more revenue on it, but we will still ultimately be ours. So it still should be heated and or cooled. I know that if it doesn't get heated or cooled now with the new system, we're gonna have to rent a trailer and pump heat into the building through the duct system and or air conditioning. And renting that is going to be very expensive, because we're gonna need that per building code and health code. So it's not like we have that many, options.
But again, if you spend the 988, is that going to solve the issues for HVAC in that building?
Yes, you have to tear down the whole entire ceiling, tear down everything, and replace the ceiling along with the rooftop units. It's a very complex job. It's going to be, it's not like the police department can just shut down. We could do the work and then they could reopen. They're open 24/7, so it's going to be a very complicated thing of trying to do an office, move to another office so they can continue to do their work. It's gonna be a lengthy process. It will have to be get done. But we, I know that the police chief, Chief Berniger, they still want to put money into the building because the chances of having a new police department are very slim to none. So you do still have to invest in your infrastructure.
Okay.
The chair.
Yes. Herb.
If I may add to the presentation. Thank you. Don, I appreciate your explanation as to how all expansive and all encompassing your role is along with your staff in maintaining our town's 17 public buildings well beyond code. Obviously excluding anything to do with the Board of Heads buildings. You and your maintainer and your remainder of your staff are continuously answering crisis situations brought to your attention by department heads.
daily.
You're trying to maintain what you do in the buildings, you and the maintainer, before they become not only safety, but OSHA concerns. Those include, appears to us, stopgap measures. And a good example is the maintenance garage that your maintainer works out of. I've been there. It's been there for years. It's used for him for his office, for his supplies, for the truck that was wisely purchased back in 2024. That'll be used now and in the future. That's his office in the field. Thank you both for what you do for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair, if I can.
Rob.
So the senior center is quite disturbing to me. that
Yes.
we haven't done anything already to this. And I guess I'm asking, did we already have an architect take a look at the building to see if we can move the door to a different side? Do we have
Yes.
the plans already done for that?
I
Or we
have-
may have to make an emergency expenditure to get this fixed.
Yes.
Well, God forbid something happens to somebody and I wouldn't want that on my head.
Yes.
So are the plans already drawn up and approved and
We
to
have
make something like that
preliminary
happen?
plans. We have not had anything, done yet because we are waiting for, if we get the money, but I did have the company that I had come out to do this, it's the same company that did the highway garage. So they would do, it would be all encompassing on them. They would make sure the codes are all up to code. And they have begun to do that, but obviously that costs money to have them do it fully. So if we got the money, then they would go ahead and drop all the plans, make sure everything is ADA compliant. They would be responsible for all of that.
So is the money that you're asking for in here, is that what they gave you for an
Yes.
estimate?
Yes.
Okay. I guess through the chair again,
Mm.
Mr. Town Manager, I ask that you expedite this somehow to get this on the list going forward before this budget.
Yeah, already together with council, and if that would take that on off this budget, that would be direct.
Have we gotten more than one quote?
No, that was the only one. I can certainly do that. This, we would have to put that out to bid.
Right.
This company, I would not have to put it out to bid. And the benefit to that is I would have to try to write up the bid with all the codes and, that wouldn't be my expertise. I need someone that knows how to write up a bid with all the specific codes, because this would be a lot of different codes. There's fire codes, there's OSHA rules, there's the ADA compliance, there's many codes that would have to go into this. And this company would do all that. And
Ms. Ford,
ha-
can you explain why you don't have to go out to bid by using this company? I
Yes,
think that's the missing piece.
just like the highway garage, this is from a consortium where this has already been put out to bid. They have already received bids for this, so it's like the state, like the state bid that we order things from. This would be the same kind that it's already been put out to bid, just like they did with the highway.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Donna and Tony, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have the fire department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, Madam Chair, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to explain our budget and going through this. What I gave you is my executive summary of our budget, which pretty much explains what I'm going to present tonight. The mission of the Watertown Fire Department and Fire Marshal Office is to protect the lives and property of the citizens of Watertown and Oakville and those that have passed through the town daily by providing a high quality of emergency fire, rescue, and first responder medical services, as well as conducting public fire safety education, code inspection of new and current businesses and dwellings within the jurisdiction. This mission can only be accomplished by maintaining a high regard for safety and health of our personnel, as well as providing updated and mandated equipment recommended by the National Fire Protection Association to properly complete the task at hand. So tonight, the Watertown Fire Department this year celebrates 132 years of service to the town. We are made up of associations of volunteers who participate with the department, volunteering their time. The fire service tasks are ever changing due to NFPA and OSHA response rules that which have changed the lives of ways the fire department manages and responds to calls. Chief officers are currently dealing with declining ranks of volunteers in our society, which has slowed response time, causing some towns to hire career firefighters and EMTs. The Watertown Fire Department Incorporated, a group of volunteers serving our community since May 8th, 1894, was made up of a part-time chief, part-time deputy chief, a full-time marshal, part-time deputy marshal, and a full-time administrative assistant. Our current membership is allowed to have 120, but unfortunately with the volunteer ranks decreasing, we currently have 73 active members, 3 less than last year. We have 47 members certified as EMS responders, 4 less than last year, and 1 department chaplain. 75 of the nation's firefighters are volunteers. It is estimated Watertown saves annually $5 million having volunteer versus career. That with the response town volunteers give now, many residents believe they have a full-time fire department. But without future volunteers coming forward, the town soon will face a decision on hiring career. Here are some of our training stuff that we do in rescue, fire, medical. Members extensively trained online and in person. In 2025, the members logged in over 2,059 hours of volunteer training to improve their skill set. Some of our incidents along the Main Street. Watertown Fire responded to 2,925 calls in 2025. 854 were fire EMS, rescue, and 2,071 EMS incidents. There was a decrease of 221 incidents from 2024. The biggest decrease was 226 EMS incidents, which is due to a change in non-emergency response runs, with an increase of 5 fire rescue calls. The non-emergency response runs were a thing where we had talked to our assisted living group homes, centers, to start calling the ambulance for non-emergency stuff instead of calling the fire department. We started to become a catch-all for everything is what it was happening. Elliptis has stomach issues, constipation, you name it, we were going to it, and it was burning out the guys. So we're continuing right now to work with our assisted livings and group homes and rest homes right now. Our apparatus replacement fund, the department requests increase in this fund by $150,000 to $300,000 yearly. This fund allows the town to replace fire apparatus on a 25-year replacement schedule due to preventive maintenance plan, which we pretty much adhere to, which keeps our stuff in good working condition. NFPA guidelines, although recommends a 20-year plan that fire apparatus should be replaced in. This fund saves the town thousands of dollars in bonding and interest costs. Past years of underfunding and cost increases of apparatus has caused delays in the replacement plan. Currently, the account contains $340,120 due to a recent Ladder 2 bond purchase coming up short of $161,000. So with funding of $300,000 in the next 3 budget cycles, 26 through 2028, there would be approximately $1,240,120 to fund the replacement of Rescue 10. If the fund was fully funded each year forward and costs not increasing, Rescue 10 would be 29 years old at the time, 4 years past the time of replacement. Rescue 10, for comparison, is a 2000 Spartan GK medium rescue. Based on annual funding and current replacement estimates, the cost to replace it today was $1,100,000. Delivery of new Rescue 10 would, again, what I would say would be in the 28-29 fiscal year. After the Rescue 10, we have Engine 4, which is a 2003 Spartan GK pumper tanker, and is the next unit to be replaced. So we always have something on the horizon that needs to be replaced. So this fund is something we need to do. Otherwise, we need to change our plans on how to get apparatus. So instead of going through everything in our budget by line item, I picked the items that they're changing. So the administrative 016 budget, the fire marshal, that would be changed to with a yearly wage increase, which has not been set up yet. The administrative assistant yearly wage increase was already done by contract for the past 2 years. So her increase would be $4,175. The deputy fire marshal, his increase would be the same, whatever the yearly increase would be once he's hired. Deputy fire chief, again, yearly increase. There was a wage adjustment with his wages last year because there was a discrepancy. He never received the yearly wage, so it was $1,159. The big increases, I'm asking again this year for my hours to be increased to full time. The increase for that would be 13,294 to bring me up to 5 hours more a week, to be full time. The change to a full-time chief, which was originally recommended by Chief Flack in 2018 upon his retirement, has now become more evident that with the ongoing regulation changes in the fire service, reporting networks, and the increased workload of managing and responding and protecting the 76 volunteer members and the 22,000 plus citizens of our town, along with those that pass through daily, the chief's job is now a full-time assignment. Under the 017 budget line on fire suppression and rescue, the volunteer fireman's pay currently is at $10. I'm requesting to increase that to $12.50, which would bring it up to $78,750 to increase in that line item. The low SAP 401 plan for volunteer firefighters, which is a plan if they meet the requirements yearly, that was an increase of $5,000 to $90,000. Training for meetings and without travel. This is for our firefighters, as well as myself, the deputy, the fire marshal, increased from 25,000 to 28,000, $3,000 increase. Our Northwest Connecticut Public Safety, and which is our med control to the hospital, that's done per capita. It's a set fee that they charge. It's going up $240 this year. In our automatic defibrillator replacement program, those are going up $400. Under our maintenance and support, maintenance, not buildings, which is our testing of our aerial trucks, pumps, ladders, and SCBA, increase of it to $1,500 is the increase in that. Our vehicle maintenance, unfortunately, the costs continue to go up. They don't go down. So in our pumper, like I said, our pumpers and everything else is getting older and it costs more money to fix it. So we're asking for an increase of $10,000 in that. Equipment parts, tires replaced every 7 years. The National Fire Protection Association requires that fire apparatus have new tires every 7 years. They can't be more than 7 years old. If something were to happen, then we'd be in violation. And this also includes replacing batteries. So there's an increase of $4,000 in that to $18,000. Our uniform protective clothing, we normally replace 10 sets of turnout gear a year. Those turnout gear costs approximately, just for the coat and pants is $3,500. Never mind the boots, helmet, your hood, radio, SCBA that's on your back. So it's an increase of $4,000 to $5,400. So with everything combined, there's an increase of $108,669 from last year's budget to this year's budget. We did have some decreases. The emergency management director, deputy director, and civil preparedness money was put into the town manager's budget. I also have $16,843 out of my budget to set. The lease was paid off on car one. So the Watertown Volunteer Fire Department and EMS service members continually serve the town of Watertown and Oakville and those that pass through daily, with the members at times putting themselves in harm's way. They respond to fire EMS incidents at all hours of the day and night to protect and treat residents. Some of who are testing positive still for flu and COVID-19, along with other infectious diseases. With the volunteers responding to these incidents receiving a stipend for their time of $10 per call, whether it's a 20-minute EMS run or an 8-hour structure fire, or worse yet, a national disaster occurring over several days. The deputy chief, fire marshal, and I have presented a responsible budget request for the volunteer fire department and town fire marshal office in an effort to help the town financially. We'll make this budget work. We ask that the town council support the fire department budget request to enhance and maintain the safety of its volunteers and services of the town of Watertown. We are stand ready day and night. Any questions?
I do have one question on the, and that was a great presentation. Thank you. On, it's under your section 505, equipment and improvements. You had put replace car 2 for 30,000. But then it looks to me as though car 2 was replaced in.
Right, so
This
car
year.
2, what we do is when we replace vehicles under those command type cars, we do them on a lease purchase over 3 years. So it was a 30-year plan for 3 years. Same as what my car 1 was 30,000 a year. I didn't spend all the money, so the last year was only 16,000 was left to pay on it.
Okay,
So
so it's
this
just,
is payment 2 of 3.
okay. Understood.
To the chair?
Sure.
Okay, a couple questions. Chief, thank you for that
Yep.
presentation. I think I just want to clarify. If we had a full, pay for fire department, you estimated it would be about $5 million a year. And it looks to me like, the line item comes out to about 930,000, between the two. So it's about a savings of 80%.
Correct.
Right, okay, great. So do you currently average more than 35 hours a week in your role?
I'm paid for 30, but I do more than 30.
Of course you do.
Yes,
Yeah.
as well as my deputy, he's paid for 20 and does more than 20. You
Yeah.
know, it's just a demanding of the job. We have to do what we have to do to get things done.
Exactly. And you have 76 people
Right
who
now
are
we're
employed
down-
by you,
Right now, we're down to 73 members.
73, and obviously they're part-time, but
They're on call.
On
so
call
we-
all the
so
time.
We send out a call, there's a call and whoever responds to the firehouse gets $10 for that call.
right. So organizing, that's trickier than having people in the house.
Right.
Right. So, okay, so your request of full-time status to me doesn't sound crazy.
No.
Seems pretty reasonable, especially for the difference in salary. Okay, I just wanted to clarify those couple of pieces
Right.
for that. Thank you.
And how long have you been working your 35 hours,
The 30 hours?
30 hours?
When I first was hired when I first was voted in as the chief, that was April of 2018, it was 25 hours is what I was received. During COVID, the town manager and the town council saw it fit to raise our hours of 5 hours each a week because of the demands of the COVID. And it's just continually the demands that keep coming and you just can't get caught up.
And what would you say your average number of hours a week are now and your deputy?
My average,
Mm-hmm.
my average is 35 to 40 and he's 20 to 25.
Okay.
I have to tell him to go home sometimes because he just stays.
But no one tells you to go home.
No, my wife
I take
does.
offense to that. Madam Chairwoman, can I add a little more context? The chief had asked this process to happen last year. They are a volunteer organization. They are somewhat separate from the town. We do support their budget, but they do operate within different rules that their organization came up with. So last year, we had talked about putting this off and we would put together a committee to look at this so that we could understand, because the chief's not going to be here forever and we're going to have to replace him as a fire chief. So this year, the new budget came around, we never got to it, and I do endorse the chief going full-time. But I still think that we should really meet and kind of put a good understanding together. How do we replace the fire chief at the next changeover? I do think that's something that we have to put some effort in after the budget.
That's a good idea. I think that's a good succession plan for most of our department head chief positions. Agree.
You have
Through
to
the
also
chair.
look at the town charter pertaining to the fire department.
Yeah.
Because the charter states that the fire department does run itself unless something happens, the town council can step in and change that.
Including picking the chief. Their members pick the chief, not the town.
Okay. Good to know.
And through the chair, question for the
Right.
chief. So, obviously, I know a lot about Northwest Public Safety.
Past member, yeah.
Who their prices went up. My question on this one is, we had an agreement with Northwest to use their combiner to get to the antenna on top, which we shared some of our resources to make this happen. Under this, this grant that we got for communication money, are we still sharing that combiner?
There's a new combiner being put up there, but
So then,
but Northwest Public Safety pays for the electric and pays for the gas for the generator that's up there.
which today's pricing for rental for antenna sites is $3,000 to $5,000 a month. I think you should go after them for rent.
I could try.
I wouldn't try, I would do it.
And speaking of grants, who writes your grants?
In the past, the deputy has wrote those grants. They've become to be somewhat cumbersome because of the reporting after we get the grant. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of paper trails. It's easier to write a grant for one specific thing than multiple things. So, and unfortunately, within our service, you can't write for just really one thing.
And are there grants available that would help with some of your expenses? If we had the time to flesh them out.
I'm sure there's something that's
Yeah.
available that we could try to use, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor? Adjourned.
Recording stopped.